Hey guys, Mr. Raymond here again for day 4 of the virtual learning tour. I hope you're doing wonderfully and are excited to do a bunch of learning. I have my plant, I have my friendly appearance, and I have a little bit of knowledge I hope to impart on you all. Today we're going to be focusing on imagery. But quickly I want to talk to you all about, once again, the state of affairs in the world. A lot of us have kind of gone through the stages of grief. And I don't know if any of you know about this. There was a brilliant article that went around the way about how we are entering the stages of grief as a world. First, we were in denial about this virus. Then we got angry about it. How dare the governments try to make us stay inside? Then we were bargaining. Maybe we can sneak outside once in a while. And then we got depressed. You know, a lot of people have been kind of clinically depressed or anxious or just riddled with stress. And I'm really hoping we all kind of move into the 5th stage, which is acceptance. And what we then realize is that this is a big blessing from on high for us all to step into ourselves and really do the self-work that's needed for us to kind of progress as humans and progress as, divine beings in flesh form. And so what we need to do individually, what we need to do individually is really just work towards sitting with ourselves, accepting our reality, and finding purpose in it, which the article I read, and I will link in the below area or whatever they call that, is the 6th stage is purpose. So find a reason why you're here. And one of the reasons why I'm here is to film these little videos and help you all get excited about poetry. And today, let me get my Visco Girl, what do they call them? Hydro flask. Or whatever the sound was. Is that still a thing? The internet, things change every week with y'all middle school students. But no, I don't have a fidget spinner. So today we're going to talk about imagery. And what I want you to realize is that imagery is more or less a poetic way of painting pictures with our words. It lives up to the name. It is the creation of images in the reader's mind through the words and the craftsmanship of the author. And so we, as writers, use sensory details to create brilliant descriptions. And I want to share with you a few of these so that you can really understand that it's not just about the visuals, it's about the sensory experience. And by engrossing the reader in a very candid and visceral, meaning you can feel it, it's alive, then the poetry comes to life and it manifests a lot of imagination in the reader. And that's what we're hoping for. So let me read to you a few. I'll start first with a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe from the Dream Within a Dream. He says, "I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep." Now, I don't want to go into the meaning of all this or the context within the poem, but just with a few sentences, with a few words, he creates an image in your mind. He creates a situation, and it brings to life a lot of creativity. Another beautiful poem, one of my favorite authors is Pablo Neruda, and in one of his first books written long ago, he wrote 20 love songs and 1 song of despair. And in his song of despair, in a song of heartbreak, he wrote, "Cold flower heads are raining over my heart. Oh, pit of debris, fierce cave of the shipwrecked. In you the wars and the flights accumulated. From you the wings of the songbirds rose." For many of you, that might just make no sense at all. And you might go, "What the heck are you having us read, Mr. Raymond? This is some illogical, profoundly confusing stuff." And it is. But it brings to you images of pain, of despair, of sadness. Instead of just saying, "I am sad." Literally, yes, the author in that moment, or the speaker as we like to say, is going through, a song of despair. But they need to bring into the writing figurative language, which we spoke about last time, and he completely succeeds. And then in one of my favorite poems, a poem by Billy Collins called The Introduction to Poetry, he writes, And I'm just going to read you the whole poem. I ask them to take a poem and hold it up to the light like a color slide, or press an ear against its hive. I say drop a mouse into a poem and watch him probe his way out, or walk inside the poem's room and feel the walls for a light switch. I want them to water ski across the surface of a poem, waving at the author's name on the shore. But all they want to do is tie the poem to a chair with rope and torture a confession out of it. They begin beating it with a hose to find out what it really means. Now, Billy Collins, the former poet laureate of the United States and one of my personal favorites, he creates this great description of all the different ways people read poems. But he doesn't just say, oh, they analyze them. He says, I say, drop a mouse into a poem and watch this mouse probe its way out. Or walk into a room of poetry and feel the walls for the light switch as if you're walking through the dark. Or some people, you just water ski across the top of the poem. He's creating images, creating sensations within you so that your imagination tingles and your creative faculties within that big brain of yours starts to really understand the magic of the words. It doesn't need to mean anything. It can mean whatever you want it to mean, though the author often might have an intention. But what we're focusing on now is the imagery of it all. I hope this makes sense, because I want you all to bring imagery to your writing and vivid sensory details to your work. Not just so that you can become more accomplished writers, but that so you can live in the little details and be mindful of the magic that surrounds. Take time, read some poems. I'll send you the link to all of them, and write one for me as I've asked. But either way, Mr. Raymond loves you, so does his plant, so does the world, even in this chaotic state. And I just want you to breathe deep, move slowly, accept this reality around us, and find purpose in this time. Peace.